It doesn't make sense that we pay him for it since we did it in the first place. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So I guess the contractors say, well, we're not going to make you pay for it again, so therefore you need to pay us more. Gee, that's a good deal if you can get it. And it sounds like to me our contractors are getting it. So I would like you, Mr. Lewis, to get back to the committee with why you cannot cease and desist paying a premium to contractors who have clearance since they didn't pay for it in the first place.
Ma'am, maybe I'm confused. And we pay OPM, the $250 million that we pay for contractor clearances on government contracts. Those funds go to OPM.
No, I understand. I understand. What I'm talking about, Mr. Sims, I understand that. I understand that public dollars are being used to provide clearances for private contractors. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the government, the taxpayers are providing clearances for contractors. Now, I know that in the area of defense contracting, you get a premium on your contract if the people who are working on your contract have clearance. That's what's irritating me, because they're getting a premium for something that the taxpayers provided them. It would be one thing if they were getting a premium for something they had paid for, but they're not. They're getting a premium for something we paid for. That seems dumb to me. That's why I'd like to figure out why we're doing that.
Ma'am, if I could just add in there, that is an issue we'd have to address with the acquisition community, and we'll be happy to come back with you with more information on that.
I'd love that. And next time I see Ash Carter, I'll mention it to him too. It doesn't make any sense to me that we would do that. I'm out of time.
Mr. Lewis, what measures or safeguards are in place to monitor the military personnel, DOD, civilian, private contractors with their security clearances?
If you're talking about, their day-to-day access to classified information, for contractors, DSS does its oversight. From the standpoint of a military service member or a DOD civilian, that is the responsibility of the component head to establish a program to monitor and conduct oversight of their own operations.
Do you know what kind of criteria is used in these cases?
There is a DoD Information Security Program manual, which establishes criteria for not only how classified material is to be protected, but also issues of security concern that need to be reported to the central adjudication facility if there's a concern about an employee.
When we're talking about clearances that are potentially revoked, can you tell me what the biggest disqualifiers are?
Historically, it has been for often it's for financial issues and individuals who've been involved in criminal activity.
Okay. How many clearances have been revoked in the last year or two or three?
I would have to come back to you with those specifics.
That'd be good if you could. In a previous question, I think Ms. Schmitz said that USIS was under investigation since late 2011. Did I hear that correct?
Yes, sir.
And they're still under investigation now?
Yes, sir.
Year and a half later? How long do these investigations typically take?
Complicated contract fraud case typically takes several years, yes.
And during that time, there's no, their used business goes on as usual with these contractors, even if they're under investigation?
It depends on the investigation. In this case, FIS has been aware of what we've been investigating since the beginning. And
can you tell me what that investigation's about? Can you legally tell me that?
Since it's ongoing, sir, I really don't want to risk jeopardizing the potential
I don't want you to. Senator McCaskill, do you have any further questions?
I do, just a couple. I want to get at USIS in terms of not only do they have the big contract to actually, the biggest contract to do the background checks, they also have this program support contract. And these contracts are, one of my nemesis in my job of overseeing contracts. Because all through our government, there have been an easy way to augment personnel by doing these program support contracts. And at one point in time, and probably still at Homeland Security, you couldn't tell the contractors from the employees. They were doing the same functions, they were sitting at the same desks, they were working on the same things. One was a contractor and one wasn't, and partly it was because supposedly they were easier to get rid of if you hire the contractors, and you don't have to have it in the same budget line as you do. Easier to get rid of the contractors, and you don't have to have the same budget line that you do to hire employees. So my question is, why is USIS getting this $45 million a year for program support, and what is that?
Yes, ma'am. USIS, it's one of our primary support contracts. We provide some background to your staff about the costs associated with it. But our front-end operation has a number of routine activities it has to conduct, and much of it is manual based on the way the records come to us in paper style. So we actually have 999 personnel that work the front-end operation for us. That is everything from scoping the investigation, pre-review, inputting the data, and ensuring that the investigation gets distributed to our investigators in the field.
Okay, so we're paying USIS several $100 million a year to do background checks, and we're paying them $45 million a year to do the office work.
Yes,
What
yes, ma'am.
percentage of that 999 are contractors, and what percentage of them are federal employees?
We have oversight. We have 35 personnel that oversight the contract, the support contract itself.
So of the 999, 35 of them are employees and 965 are contract people?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why? Why are we paying contractors instead of hiring people?
As we add automation, we're able to downsize the staffing. And so year to year, we've seen a decline in the contract staff required for our support services. We also, based on the low-level jobs that they are, it's more financially beneficial for us to have contractors doing that work than bringing on a full-time.
So you have a cost-benefit analysis that you could get to me?
Not one I can give you, no, ma'am.
You don't, because there isn't one?
There is not one.
Okay, well then how do you know they're cheaper?
Well, we'll do a cost-benefit analysis and provide.
Well, it sounds like to me you haven't done one, but yet you said they were cheaper.
Yes, ma'am, because
Well, how do you know that?
we can contract our workforce very quickly on the contract side. So as the automation gets added, we can go ahead and downsize those requirements within.
So you're telling me 999 is downsized?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's lower than it was?
Yes, ma'am.
What was it last year?
It was. I'd have to get that number to you. It's over 1,000, but that's only a
Okay,
different.
well, I'm going to dig in here,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
to warn you. I want the numbers. I want a cost-benefit analysis. I'm tired of this assumption being made that contractors are cheaper, because I've been at this for 6 years, and I guarantee you about half the time I've looked hard, they haven't been cheaper. So I just think it's easier. And many times, in fact, there have been studies done that they're more expensive. So I'd like to take a hard look at that and make sure that that is the case. And that was the last line of questioning I want to make sure I covered today. I do want to, I know all of you want to make this as good as possible. And we don't have these hearings to make everyone feel awkward and uncomfortable. We have these hearings because we know oversight is needed in this area. And I think all of you will acknowledge oversight. I know that my friend from GAO and my friend from the IG's office know that oversight is needed. And I think even you all will acknowledge that this is an area that we have neglected oversight. And, you know, it takes one incident for all of us to realize that here is a whole area of the government that most Americans have no idea, and most members of Congress have no idea how this actually works. And the more we dig in, the more we realize more work needs to be done. So I appreciate all of your public service. And I know that we've got some specific questions we've asked, and I know the chairman may have others he wants to ask now, but I would appreciate getting that information back. And I'm going to stay on this, Mr. Miller, about the cost-benefit analysis, because you know what I bet we're going to figure out? You can hire those people for less.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator McCaskill. I want to close now. If you have any closing remarks, you certainly have that. I just want to thank all of you for being here. I think Senator McCaskill said it well. We have these hearings to try to get information so we can make things run better. And I appreciate you giving a short notice, especially all being here today, because I know you're busy. Oversight is critically important. I think that's been brought up several times today, and making sure that we have the proper metrics, do the proper oversight, making sure we've got folks both that are government employees and contractors that are accountable, critically important. So, what we're talking about here is the intelligence of the nation, and we've got a ways to go to make sure that we have the kind of oversight in place and the kind of reciprocity in place, the kind of metrics in place that will ensure that our intelligence stays solid even to folks inside the department. We look forward to working with you to constructively move forward in a way that makes sense for this country. Once again, I want to thank you for your testimony. The record will remain open until July 8th for any additional comments or any questions by any of the subcommittee members. So with that, this hearing is adjourned. Thank you all.